Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and I'm posting another video update on my mother. She was supposed to post this update on her GoFundMe, but she never got around to it, so I figured, given how it went back in April, I owed you guys another video with as much transparency about how things have gone since then as possible. For those of you who maybe are just seeing this for the first time, back in April, my mother and I set up a GoFundMe to raise $50,000. Basically, since my father passed several years ago, the ongoing financial burden has kind of fallen on me. And given that I live across the country and I have my own family, my girlfriend, my cats, I have my own bills, it's been a constant stress and struggle, to say the least, to keep up with all of my bills and her bills, just putting out as many videos and doing as much live streaming as I could. And it eventually kind of just boiled over. We bought a bunch of time because of the Fat Black Chocobo event over on Twitch, which I was able to use to help her a significant amount. But once a tax man came knocking the next year and I had to, pay my 2021 taxes, I was like, okay, I need to see if I can reach out for help. And we did. Back in April, we set that up and it went a million times better than her or I could have ever imagined. What started as what we both considered an unreachable goal of 50,000, just because that was the goal that made the most sense given what it was supposed to actually be paying for. We ended up raising $118,387. We were blown away. And even now, you guys don't know how much that's meant to both of us, because I honestly don't know what the situation would look like if it hadn't even gone that well. Because once I break down all the costs for you in this video, you'll understand where it's gone and how much is left and all that stuff. But I'll be giving you all the details. Given the amount of money that was raised, no matter what, intend full transparency with this one. So the point of this video, I'm going to let you know how the money has been spent thus far, how much is left, and what's been going on with my mother in general. Since she didn't post it, I'm going to be the one to tell you. So with that, let's get into the nitty gritty. All right, so 118,387 US dollars. That is how much it says on the GoFundMe page as of me making this video. Although some of those donations trickled in really late. There was a $50 one just last month, much to my surprise. I remember my mother texting me about it and telling me about it. So how has this been spent thus far? Now, I have some exact numbers, some approximations, just because there's been so many individual receipts that I didn't go down to the exact dollar with my breakdown. But most of these are within $100 estimations, maybe 200 at most. And some of them are just rounded for the sake of making it a nice, clean number to understand. One exact number I do have is how much GoFundMe took. Of course, GoFundMe has a processing fee that they deduct from the total. And of the 118,387, GoFundMe took exactly $6,132. So that puts it down to just about 112,000 right off the get-go, 112 and some change. Now, the next one was actually the main reason why we started the GoFundMe in the first place, and that was to take care of probably the single biggest over looming, I don't know what words I'm using, bill that was on the house, and that was the house itself, the mortgage. That is the only place my mother knows how to live. It's where she raised her family, and it's where she wants to spend the rest of her life. But obviously, I couldn't really afford to pay the mortgage, especially outright, like we ended up doing after this was done. So that was what the initial 50,000 was for. We would pay off the house, and then I would be able to help through planning with the rest of the bills going forward until she hit 62 in December, at which point Social Security would kick in, and hopefully by then, we would have more benefits available that she had been signing up for and waiting for approvals and yada, yada, yada. What ended up happening on that front, the mortgage remaining was about 49,000. It was like 49, like 120 or something like that. And so she called the mortgage company. They told her that, but what they didn't tell her is that they had actually already filed a foreclosure, which comes with, I think, the legal fees of that come out to about $6,000. So my mother, of course, was like, I'm literally offering to pay it outright. And the foreclosure fee apparently, or the foreclosure filing wasn't that old. So she tried to reason with them and say, let's bring this down just to the 49,000 and just pay it outright. And they wouldn't budge. So she ended up taking it to court and is waiting on a court date currently. But in the meantime, has to put money in escrow. Escrow basically saying this much is committed to it, regardless of the outcome of the actual lawsuit. So, or lawsuit, case filing, whatever it is, whatever the legal nomenclature is. So there's 60,000 tied up in a mortgage escrow at the moment. Now, if she wins that case, whenever the court date might be, then after the 49,000 is paid, she'll get 11,000 of that back. If not, she'll pay about 55,000 and 5,000 will come back. But either way, that's money that's just currently tied up and isn't going anywhere. And once that's completely settled, she'll have a nice little chunk of change coming back her way. Money she's already had, but just had to do that with it. So that's already at $66,000. And those weren't even the first two. Well, I guess the GoFundMe fee was actually the first thing that came out of it. The mortgage escrow was like maybe the third or fourth thing that came out of it. Major thing at the very least. Next were quarterly property taxes. She's had to pay 2 quarters worth of property taxes thus far. And that's totaled at, I think it was like $28.80 each quarter. So, that's like 5760 if my math is correct. Don't try to do math. I should have done that. I wrote 5700 down. I don't know why I didn't just write 5760. Yeah, so you got another, 5800 right there. Homeowners insurance, $323 outright. That's one I have the exact number for. Outstanding payments. So these were like backed up credit card bills for both my mother and my father before he passed. My mother had all of those receipts ready to go. And that was actually the very first thing that she paid off. I think I even mentioned that in update number 1. That totaled somewhere between $15,000 and $16,000 right there. So yeah, you can already see. So it's 66 plus the other 6, so that's 72, and we're already at 88. I didn't even realize that. I actually wrote this all out before I even started, and even I'm kind of like, oh wow, that's already at 88. But we still have quite a bit of ways to go. Now, she had some surgery quite some years ago on her back. She has 2 iron rods in her back because her spine was deteriorating. And wow, I must be tired. That was not a word, deteriorating. So she has pain management in order to deal with that. And in the time since April, that's cost about $3,500 total as well. If she falls out of that pain management program, it is not going to be good for her, just in terms of quality of life. So that's another $3,500 approximately. It's like 31 or something like that, but just rounded for the sake of making it easy. Now, one big thing that she contemplated was, should she try to get a car with that money, something like a $900 like piece of crap, but something that she could get from someone she could trust. I told her that between car insurance and the cost of the car, and if anything happened to the car and the cost of gas, that this wasn't the time to do that. So she's been using rideshare to get pretty much anywhere if she doesn't have a friend take her there. So her exact cost in Uber is $18.90 in terms of, and that's of a flat trip fee according to her account. That's not including any of the tips that she would have given to any of the Uber drivers. So the number is actually probably, like, I guess per trip is another like $5 per trip. I don't know the exact number of that. I only have the flat fees of the trip. So yeah, it's another $18.90 right there. And then we have household repair. So funny thing, literally like the day after we did that GoFundMe, the washing machine broke. So there was like a problem with the kitchen sink. So she had to have some of the plumbing done there. There was a leak for the refrigerator, so it wasn't cooling properly anymore. Washing machine outright broke back in April. And the garage door was a more recent fix. That's been broken for a while, but she actually just got that fixed recently. Also had the gutters cleaned, which cost $75. But overall, that ended up costing somewhere in the realm of $1,500 to $2,000. I think the washing machine alone was like, I don't know, like $400 or $500 if she wanted something that was actually semi decent. And I don't remember how much a lot of this other stuff costed, but I remember writing this down and just giving an estimate of each of them, and I landed at somewhere between $1,500 and $2,000. So that's where we're working at in household repairs. Fortunately, nothing else has happened with the house, although there is house maintenance, which I lugged into something different here, which I lugged into the monthly household bills. So the monthly household bills come out to about $1,043 a month. Power and gas is $220, water is $35. Her AT&T, I guess that's her phone, is $31. Cable and Wi-Fi, the deal, package deal. She doesn't watch like YouTube or Netflix or anything. She still watches cable. She needs her Maury in the mornings and whatnot. So that's $225 between the cable and the Wi-Fi. Landscaping, so that's house maintenance. So that's $40 a week, and that needs to happen because before the fundraiser, she actually got an ordinance, I think it was called, from my hometown, because her lawn wasn't taken care of. So they gave her a thing and said, hey, you need to fix this. And she was rightfully upset given physically what she was capable of and monetarily what she was capable of, but making sure not to let that fall apart. Landscaping is factored into the monthly household bills. Food and household supplies, that's a rough estimate. It's about $250 a month, but that still doesn't really include all the incidentals. That is mostly food. You know, the occasional purchase of like toilet paper, or toothpaste, or like detergent or things like that. All that's not 100% factored in. It comes out to more than 250 a month in that. But this was like a decent estimate of like purchases that happen frequently. They're not like one-off incidentals that happen on occasion. So that's at 250. Prescription medication, $100. I think that also comes alongside her pain management. So it's the prescription that her pain management actually files for her. I'm not sure if she's still exactly which medication she's taking. I remember for a while I had to help her pay for Eliquis, which was really expensive before it got approved under her Medicare eventually, or Medicaid, whichever one she has. And then she has health/life insurance, and that's $22 a month. So all of that comes out to, well, let's do the math together, and let's do some easy math. GoFundMe was just over $6,000. I'll give you the exact number, but we'll round it out. So we got $66,000 between the GoFundMe and the mortgage escrow. You've got another $5,700. I should really have punched this into a calculator before we started. Oh, I also forgot the hospital. So this I have to get into. This I was saving for last. But before I get into this last little bit, let's do the math together. So 6132, 60,000 in escrow, the 5760 for the quarterly property taxes, the homeowner's insurance of 323, about 16. You know what? I'll round it in the middle for the outstanding bills that she had, the first things that she paid, which were largely like credit card bills and stuff. I'll make it 1550 because it's between 15 and 16, somewhere in that range. Neurosurgeon and pain management, roughly 3,500. Uber without tip is 1,890. I'm going to leave the tipping of the drivers out. Household repairs, I'll go on the low end for that, the 1,500. It's between 1,500 and $2,000. That also doesn't include the gutter cleaning, which the one gutter cleaning that's there is $75. I don't know why, don't know why I didn't just lug that in. And then for household bills, it's 143 5 times, and I'm not going to multiply because it's too much pressure to do that. That comes out to a total cost of $99,895 out of the 118, not out of the 112. Now, the last thing that comes out, so that leaves about what, like 19,000-ish, not including things like incidentals, the Uber tips, and any other outstanding costs that might have been there. The last thing is hospital and outpatient costs. So this is the one thing. This is lugged in with the update about what's been going on with my mother. So in recent months, she has been in and out of, the hospital, seeing the doctor a lot more, because trying to figure out what exactly is going on with her. Because they've been trying to figure it out for a while, and she had a number of just health issues that the doctor couldn't fully explain, and she wasn't showing symptoms of anything in particular, so they just kept trying to find what it was and not trying to draw any early conclusions. However, after doing quite a few tests, they have landed on a diagnosis of systematic lupus. It's pretty likely she's had it for a while, given the way her health has been over the past few years. But yeah, she's had a lot of hospital and outpatient costs. Some of that's going to come back to her later, just because she has a program she pays for once a year. She hasn't had to pay for it yet, so it didn't come out of this. Where she can, if she like fronts a down payment cost, then she gets that back later. It gets like approved and sent back later. I don't remember the name of the program, but that's been a thing that we've been dealing with now, and that raises the question of what is that going to mean for her health? What's that going to mean cost-wise? And that's information we still don't have as of the making of this video. But me being the very careful person that I am, I'm already taking steps to try to ensure that I have a buffer in terms of my income. I finally just gotten finished paying all of my tax related stuff for the last year. I had to do that in payments because of the way the Fat Black Chocobo event went, plus how much money I had to put forward to actually help her over the last several years. And then I've been playing catch up as it is. And now my brain just works in overdrive. I can't help but think like the what would happen if the money ran out. And it doesn't look like it will. Like I said, on top of having a decent chunk of the change left, even after the hospital and outpatient bills, which bring it, I think those are like $6 grand total, but some of that's coming back. I just don't know how much because I don't fully understand all of the dynamics being, a country away, essentially, a full size of a country away. So that probably leaves, just about like probably a little over 10 grand in the bank. But like I said, she'll get anywhere from 5 to 11,000 back from the mortgage escrow. The Eliquis that I was paying for it while she was waiting on the approval. So that will retroactively get given back to her, plus some of the actual outpatient costs and like radiology and stuff will be sent back. So she's good is what I'm saying. I'm not saying that we need any more money or anything. But what I am telling you is that my precautious self is going to be doing more to kind of buffer and back prepare. I have sponsored videos planned for the YouTube channel. I've sponsored stuff on Twitch that you might see me peddling a little bit more on YouTube. And that's just, I've said it like 3 times already. But other than that, she's been able to eat well. She's been actually getting some exercise. I bought her before all of this. Like, it's like a little $40 like pedal. I think it is. It's just pedals that just keep track of your distance. You just like put them maybe like under your desk or like at the edge of a couch. And she's been using those. So her legs have been really strong. She hasn't had any like blood clot issues like she was having before. And other than that, I mean, if she's been living with this systematic lupus for a while, then it's meant she's had a bad quality of life. And while I don't know what the cost of it's going to be, if it's covered under her Medicaid, Medicare, she's likely to have an improve in her quality of life overall. It's just been one thing after the next. And more than anything, it's been stress between the two of us because there's only, so much we can do. I mean, especially after everything all of you did. I mean, this was, again, well beyond anything we expected. And I can't imagine where we'd be if it didn't go half as well as it did if we had only gotten the 50,000 to cover the mortgage. Now knowing that we actually would have been hit with a foreclosure fee anyway. So it was like angels looking down as far as I'm concerned. It's just it's insane to think that it's been so much time. I thought it happened in May. I was like, oh, it happened at the end of May. She's like, no, it happened at the end of April. And that's how surreal it is. I can't even like comprehend when it actually properly happened. It's but that's where we're at. And that's where I'm at. So I think this update is largely done. If you have any questions, be sure to put them in the comment section below. There are some other things we're working on as well, just to make sure that she has long-term help. Once she hits 62, she'll have Social Security. There's more programs she's eligible for. We're making sure to look into all of that. And so, yeah, unless I forgot something, which I don't think I did, then I think we're good. So all I'm asking for you from this video is well wishes. And if you see me doing sponsored stuff, just know, well, it's something I at least am interested in. I don't take sponsors I'm not interested in, but that I'm doing it with a purpose. So please bear that in mind. With that, though, I'm going to wrap this video up and get to working on some other stuff. It's already like 9:20 while I'm recording this video, so maybe I should just go to bed after this. I don't know. So thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next Not Mom Update video. And thank you again for everything you guys have done for us, especially over these last several months, especially with that GoFundMe. It's mind-blowing. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one. And until then, take care.